Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Uncommon Sense with Jose Negro. Now, for the benefit of those of you who are not familiar with the channel or watching this channel for the first time, the reason why it is called Uncommon Sense because here on this platform we discuss everyday issues where we try to find logical solutions, but not everyone uses logic. For that reason, it is called Uncommon Sense. I also have another YouTube channel called Latina Diaspora where I discuss issues pertaining to Latinos residing in the United States. The link to that channel is in the description. I want to let everybody know that I'm currently live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Also, the subscriber mode has been enabled for the first 5 minutes, meaning if you're not a subscriber and if you wish to enter a comment in the chat, you will have to subscribe to the channel. As always, I want to give a huge shout out to all those who have already subscribed to the channel. Whether you've been a supporter from the very beginning or just recently joined as late as today, I really appreciate your love and continued support. I also want to give a huge shout out to all those who follow me on social media, as well as those who allow me to enter into your devices and those who watch from the clouds, even the haters. So, what I'm going to ask you, do you're not done so already, I'm going to ask you to subscribe, like, and set the bell notifications to all. So, therefore, whenever I do produce content, you will have the opportunity to catch it live or catch it on the playback. So, as you can see by the thumbnail, the topic for tonight is Let Us Discover Christmas. So, what we're going to do is we're going to actually define what Christmas is, perhaps share some of the customs and things like that, and of course, the many reasons why people observe Christmas. But before I we get into the main topic, we're gonna have another episode of In My Words. Uh, First of all, I'm in the process of preparing my content for next week. Now, one of the topics I'm gonna be talking about is, of course, I have discussed this topic before, and but it's something that we do need to discuss because, unfortunately, it is during the holiday season when people do have thoughts about self deletion. So I'm gonna be airing a live talking about the topic on Monday night. I'm also going to be sharing resources for those who have actually had thoughts of self deletion. Okay, as a person that I've had those type of thoughts, I can rest assure you that self deletion is not the solution. I mean, while you're dealing with mental health issues, and it does seem like it's a permanent it's a problem, it's permanent, it's temporary. Okay, the adversary will try to encourage you to self delete, thinking that that will put an end to your thoughts. Rest assured, what you're doing is you're taking an extreme situation, and what you're doing is creating a lot of hurt for your loved ones, and also depend also will make a determination where you're going to spend eternity, because as is stated in Hebrews 9:27, is appointed for you know all to give an account for all our actions, good and bad. Okay, and the fact of the matter is, when you decide to take your own life, and self-delete and then taking and actually succeed, it will create a lot of guilt among your loved ones. Also, what you're doing is that you're deciding that you're a God as far as how you should end your life. That decision is only up to the Lord. Okay, and when you do decide to self-delete, uh, it's basically a coward's way what life, a coward's way to deal with an issue with mental health. So I'm going to be talking about that on Monday. Um, Now I am going to give a shout out to my friend uh, Kishon and Dreadlocks Dollery because she's almost at 1,000 subs. Okay, and I'm sure she'll get it definitely this week, if not already achieve it. And I know it's a bit premature. I just want to give a huge shout out celebration regarding her reaching the 1K sub mark. Right now, I think she's at 999, but I'm sure she'll get there before we know it. And as a it is a major achievement uh, for any small content creator. Okay. And one thing we have to bear in mind that it is a marathon, not a sprint. Okay. And one thing as content creator we all have to bear in mind is that there's going to be times where we're going to have not many people watch our content, and then there'll be times when people will be watching our content. Um, it could be a bit discouraging when you don't see a lot of action um, among your content. Don't get. I will say to you, don't become discouraged. Continue to uh, produce your content. Um, just because a lot of people don't catch it live doesn't mean that people won't catch it on the playback. Okay, so I just want to encourage all of you who are disappointed by the fact that there's not a lot of activity. Just continue to produce content. It will produce algorithms. And one thing you're gonna notice that you're gonna have two different types of audiences. You're gonna have audiences that will be mainly attracted to the short videos that you produce, and you're gonna have an audience regarding those who catch your lives. Okay, so do not become discouraged by what appears to be not a lot of activity during your lives. Just continue to produce content, and you'll be surprised uh, regarding how your channel will grow. Another thing that I want to talk about, there's going to be days at work when nothing seemed to go right. Okay, whether it be because your computer, your internet service is not flowing well, could be because your platforms are not functioning the way it should. There will be days where everything seems not to be going right. Okay. So the key is just to be calm, do what you can, inform your superiors regarding whatever technical issues. And for the most part, they will understand as long as you're transparent regarding whatever difficulties that you are experiencing. The mistake is not to be transparent and just to try to hide other embarrassment. When it comes to work, doing your job, it is best to be transparent. It is best to inform your superiors of whatever technical difficulties and just do the best you can. And whatever you do, just remain calm. Okay. Getting excited or getting upset will not help your situation in any way, shape, or form. And that's something that I experienced today. Okay. Where it seems like everything that can go wrong did go wrong. But I was able to remain calm and I was able to just deal with the situation in a calm manner. So, with that being said, we're going to go to the next. Now, before I get into the main topic, let me just state for the record that the link to join the panel has been pinned. Should anyone wishes to hit that link and opine regarding the topic at hand, they may do so. Let me make this perfectly clear. If I never seen you before, if I never heard from you before, I will insist that you come up in the backstage to make sure that no one tries to flash any pornographic images, which will cause the people of YouTube and Twitch to take down their stream. Now, once I've seen that you did come up and you're not going to flash any adult images, and you are going to abide by my guidelines, then I'll let you on the platform. Okay. Now, last week, apparently someone was a little disappointed or upset because I wouldn't let that person on the panel because that person chose not to come up on the backstage. Now, I don't know what was that person's plan, but I have to do everything I can to make sure that no one tries to flash anything inappropriate. So, with that being said, let's go to the topic at hand. Now, what is Christmas? Now, people were saying, well, Jose, everyone knows what Christmas is. Yeah, everyone has heard about Christmas. But let's actually define what it is because here on this platform, we do define everything. Now, Christmas is an annual festival commemorating this is what Christmas is. It is the annual celebration commemorating the birth of Jesus Christ, observed primarily on December the 25th as a religious and cultural celebration among billions of people around the world. It is a liturgical feast central to Christianity. Christmas preparation begins on the first Sunday of Advent and followed by Christmas time, which is which historically begins in the West, the last 12 days, culminating on the 12th night. Christmas Day is a public holiday in many countries, observed religiously by majority of Christians, as well as celebrated culturally by many non-Christians and form an integral part of the annual holiday season. So that is what Christmas is. Okay. Now, many people observe the holidays in different ways. For some people, it is a time for family to get together. For children, of course, it's a magical time because they get presents from their parents and their loved ones and things of that nature. For others, it's for others, it's a time to enjoy good food, music, and it's generally a joyful time. for many people. Excuse me. So now let's continue. The traditional Christmas narrative recounted in the New Testament, known as the Nativity of Jesus, says that Jesus was born in Bethlehem according to messianic prophecies. When Joseph and Mary arrived in the city, the inn had no room, so they were offered a stable where the Christ child was soon born, with angels proclaiming this news to shepherds, whom then spread the word. Now, the question has to do with when was Jesus born? In all fairness, no one really knows. Okay. It is safe to assume that Jesus was not necessarily born on the 25th of December. Okay. And one thing we have to bear in mind is that the importance is not when he was born. The fact of the matter is he was born. Okay. The fact of the matter is that in his short life, which is 33 years approximately, in his 3 years of public ministry before his crucifixion and resurrection, um, he came to taught us, among all things, love of God and love of neighbor. Okay. Now let me just continue. There are different hypotheses regarding the date of the birth of Jesus. In the early fourth century, the church fixed the date as December the 25th, the date of the winter solstice in the Roman Empire. It is 9 months after the Annunciation, which is March the 25th, also the Roman day of the spring equinox. Most Christians celebrate on December the 25th in the Gregorian calendar, which has been adopted almost universally as the civil calendar used in countries throughout the world. However, part of the Eastern Christian churches celebrate Christmas on December 25th as the older Julian calendar, which currently corresponds to January the 7th of the Gregorian calendar. For Christians, celebrating that God came into the world in the form of man to atone for sins of humanity is more important than knowing Jesus Christ's exact birth. Okay. So, of course, in different countries, um, when Christmas is observed, excuse me, yeah, excuse me, excuse me, excuse me. Okay, like for example, like in Western countries, Christmas is observed on December the 25th. In other countries, it is observed on January the 6th, which is known as the Feast of the Epiphany, okay? Which is known in Latin America as Three Kings Day, or as we call it in Spanish, El Día de los Reyes Magos. And that's when the wise men came bearing gifts to the baby Jesus. In other countries, Christmas is observed on January the 7th. Also on January the 19th. Now, the customs associated with Christians in various countries have a mixture of pre-Christian, Christian, and secular themes and origins. Popular holiday traditions include gift giving, completing an advent calendar or advent meeting, Christmas music and caroling, watching Christmas films, viewing a nativity play, an exchange of Christmas cards, attending church services, a special meal, and displaying various Christmas decorations, including Christmas trees, Christmas lights, nativity scenes, poinsettias, garlands, wreaths, mistletoe, and holly. Additionally, several related and often intentional figures, such as Santa Claus, Father Christmas, Saint Nicholas, and Christ kind, are associated with bringing gifts to children during the Christmas season and having their own body traditions and law. Because gift giving and many other aspects of the Christmas festival involve high economic activity, Christmas has become a significant event and key sales of period with retailers and businesses. Over the past few centuries, Christmas has had a steadily growing economic effect in many regions of the world. Now let's take a look at where the word Christmas comes from. Okay. The English word of Christmas is shortened form of Christ Mass. The word is recorded, okay, as Christmas. Okay. So that's where it comes from. Now, as far as the actual biblical story, it's described in both the Gospels of Luke and Matthew. They describe Jesus being born in Bethlehem to the Virgin Mary. In the Gospel of Luke, Joseph and Mary traveled from Nazareth to Bethlehem in order to be counted for a census, and Jesus was born there and placed in a manger. Angels proclaimed him as Savior for all the people, and three shepherds came to adore him. In the Gospel of Matthew, by contrast, three magi follow a star to Bethlehem to bring gifts to Jesus. Now, of course, there is some history about regarding Christmas. In the second century, the earliest church records indicate that Christians were remembering and celebrating the birth of the Lord, an observance that sprang up organically from the authentic devotion of ordinary believers, although they did not agree on a set day. The earliest documented place of Jesus' birth on December the 25th is the chronograph of 354, also called the calendar of Florcalis, which also names it as the birthday of Sol Invictus, the invisible sun. Now, Sol Invictus was one of the Roman gods that the Romans worshiped, particularly towards the later portion of the Roman Empire. Liturgical historians generally agree that part of this text was written in Rome in 330 AD. This is consistent with the assertion of the date formerly said by Pope Julius I, Bishop of Rome from 337 to 352. Although Christmas did not appear on the list of festivals given by the early Christian writers, Irenaeus and Tertullian, the early church fathers John Chrysostom, Augustine of Hippo, and Joel attest to the December 25th as the day Christmas towards the end of the 4th century. December the 25th was also the traditional day of the winter solstice of the Roman Empire, where most Christians live, and the Roman festival, there's Nativitas Sol Invictus, birthday of Sol Invictus, have been held since the date of 274 AD. Now, I'm not going to go through the whole entire history. Okay. Now, there are some groups of Christians who did not agree in celebrating Christmas. In fact, in 17th century English, some groups such as the Puritans strongly condemned the celebration of Christmas, consider it as a Catholic invention and the trappings of popery, the rags of the beast. In contrast to the established Anglican Church, pressed for more elaborate observances of feasts, potential seasons, and saints' days. Okay, the calendar reform became a major point of tension between the Anglican Party and the Puritan Party. Catholic Church also responded, promoting the festival more religiously oriented to King Charles I of England, directed his nobles and gently to return the land estates to the winter to keep their old Christmas generosity. Okay, so there are some Christians that choose not to observe Christmas because it's a Catholic invention, according to them. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about uh, some of the observances and traditions. For the benefit of those who are just tuning in, the topic for tonight is Let Us Discover Christmas. Okay. Now, Christmas Day is celebrated as a major festival and public holiday in countries around the world, including whose populations are mostly non-Christian. In some non-Christian areas, people from colonial rule introduced the celebration. For example, Hong Kong. In other Christian minorities, foreign cultural influence that led populations to observe the holiday. Countries such as Japan, when Japan Christmas is popular, despite being only a small number of Christians, have adopted many of the cultural aspects of Christmas, such as gift giving, decorations, and Christmas trees. Many popular Christians associated with many popular customs associated with Christmas follow independently of the commemoration of Jesus, with some claim certain aspects are Christianized and have origins in pre-Christian festivals, which were celebrated by pagan populations who were later converts to Christianity. Other scholars reject these claims and affirm that Christian customs are largely in a Christian context. Okay. Now, the pre-Christian groups, Germanic groups, including Anglo-Saxons and Norse, celebrated a winter festival called Yule, held in late December and early January period, yielding a modern English Yule together as a synonym for Christmas. In Germanic language-speaking areas, new elements of modern Christmas folk custom to icophony may have been originated from Yule, including Yule log, Yule boar, and Yule god. Okay. And of course, um, one of the things that marks the holiday is the Christmas decorations, which is have Christmas lights, having a Christmas tree, having a Christmas display on your door. Okay. Now, in some places, but some places, those that have houses, um, what they will do is they'll have these large light displays, okay, which can be seen for blocks. It's beautiful, but I would not want to be dealing with the electrical bill, so to speak. Let's see. And of course, another thing that makes it special regarding the holiday is all the songs. Okay, and of course, there's a lot of Christmas carols. Okay, some of them are known, some of them are not as known, some of them are humorous. Okay. Of course, you have various different Christmas carols like Silent Night, Holy Night, Oh Holy Night, What Child Is This? We Things Korean Art. And of course, many of us may have a favorite um, Christmas carol. Okay. Mine's is What Child Is This? And this carol brings a lot of memory, and it's very touching, emotional for me. And I'll explain to you why. When I was dealing with bouts of depression and had thoughts of self deletion, um, when I listened, really listened to the lyrics of What Child It Is, it spoke to me. Okay, it spoke to me and it touched me in a very emotional way. Okay, I mean, so the lyric goes, what child is this that lays to rest on Mary's lap is sleeping, when angels keep and watch. So basically, what I gather is that I need to place all my cares, all my burdens on Jesus' lap. Okay. That was the message that I received. That no matter what's going on in my life, I can always place my burdens on, on with Jesus. And it and sometimes and it gets very emotional, particularly in light of the fact that my mother had passed away years ago. And once in a while, when I hear it, it's almost like I hear my mother speaking to me. Okay, so actually, what it does, it reassures me that I am not alone. It reassures me that I can place my cares with Jesus. Just as the baby Jesus is secure in Mary's lap, I can place my cares and burdens in Jesus' feet. So that's the reason why. That's the reason why um, what child it is has a lot of meaning. And I know with some people, there are different Christmas carols that have different meanings for other people. Okay, and actually, if you were to really listen to some of the lyrics, and I mean really listen, it has a message of its own. Okay, but the problem is we sing these Christmas carols a lot, and we don't stop to think about the meaning behind it. Okay, so let me just continue. Just give me a moment. And of course, we have to talk about the food. Okay, I mean, there's a lot. I mean, is it when it comes to Christmas, and of course, we have a very special feast. Okay, and of course, depending on which where you're from, there's certain dishes like for example, you in other places they'll serve ham, they'll serve maybe turkey, with stuffing, with mashed potatoes, vegetables. Um, of course, there's eggnog that people drink. In truth, I never tried eggnog, and I don't understand what's the big. I mean, why people drink it in Latino homes, particularly in Puerto Rico and Dominican Republic. Of course, we have coquito, which is basically it's a beverage with coconut milk, a little bit liquor, a little bit milk, nutmeg, and I don't know what else. Okay. And of course, there's a lot of rich foods like there's pies and cakes and things of that nature. Okay. And generally speaking, when um, people can indulge a little bit too much when it comes to eating, okay? Because when you see that display of food and everything, no, everything looks delicious, and you want to try everything. Okay, so let's see. And of course, another custom is the exchange of greeting cards. Okay, and actually, the custom of greeting cards came from the UK. Um, it has People started exchanging greeting cards in the 19th century. And of course, one part of Christmas is exchanging gifts. Okay. Now, I don't have a problem with exchanging gifts. When it gets to be an issue, when people put more focus on the gifts than on the holiday. Okay. And one of the problems people can um, be disappointed if they don't get a certain gift. Okay. The whole purpose of Christmas should be a time where we remember the birth of Jesus. It should be a time when we're gathering with loved ones. It should be a time of fellowship. It should be a time of goodwill. Okay. Um, it is a time where of fellowship. Okay. And of course, one of the figures, okay, so there's a few figures associated with Christmas. One of them is Santa Claus. And of course, there's a lot of speculation whether this person existed or did not exist. And of course, he's known under different names like Father Christmas and Papa Noel and things of that nature. Okay. And of course, there is a lot of theories regarding why we chose to celebrate Christmas on December the 25th. Okay. Now, of course, there was the winter solstice, which was a pagan holiday. So, what Christians do is they'll take a holiday and basically try to put um, a Christian twist to it. Now, someone has commented to me talking about, well, how could you condemn Halloween and celebrate Christmas? Well, yeah, first of all, there is a big difference. While there are pagan elements in both holidays, okay, Halloween it's more like the tradition of darkness. Christmas is a tradition of light, a holiday of light, which is Jesus, which is the light of the world. That's the main difference. And again, uh, if you choose to observe Halloween, that's up to you. And I'm thinking what I'm going to do is uh, I'm just going to summarize. So, I mean, how you choose to observe Christmas, um, that's up to you. Okay, there are people. Okay, there are people that focus more on being with family, and that's fine. There are people that will focus on you know eating. There are people that are more focused on the music, and then there's some of us that we focus more on the birth of Jesus. Now I'm going to tell you how I observe Christmas. Yes, I'm going to be yes, I'm going to be going to hot Christmas parties, okay, and enjoy myself and enjoy the fellowship with other people. Yes, yes, I'm going to eat. Okay. However, for me, the main focus of Christmas is the fact that the Lord Jesus Christ was born in me, and that in His love and His mercy, He came into the world uh, so that we will have eternal life, that we will not die to sin, die in our sins, okay, and that we will have fellowship with God. That is the true meaning of Christmas. Okay. And of course, I'll have my Christmas message on December the 24th. Okay. So, with that being said, I see no one is going to um, join me, so I'm going to start to wrap it up. I just wanted to give spend my explanation, sharing what is the true meaning of Christmas. Now tomorrow I'll be live at the same time, 9:15, talking about what we would be able to do after we finally decide to retire. And there's many things that we can do. Okay. So with that being said, of course, um, I'm gonna ask those if you have not done so, I'm gonna ask you to please subscribe, like, set the bell notification to all. So therefore, whenever I do produce content, you will have the opportunity to catch it live or catch it on the playback. Okay. And a huge shout out to all of you who continue to show your love and support to me. Okay. I still can't get over the fact that I'm over 1K subs. That's a major achievement, and I'm truly humbled. Okay, and I really appreciate all of you. So I will be live tomorrow night at 9:15 p.m. So with that being said, of course I'm gonna close the same way that I always close. We must do everything possible to avoid the presence of the mentally and intellectually challenged, because if we fail to do so, we'll be infected by their stupidity and massive insanity. And of course, whatever we say to do, we should do for the glory of God. With that being said, this has been another episode of Uncommon Sense with Jose Negron. Saying good night, stay blessed, take care, and peace.